Hi there, this is Shelly Weir, President and CEO of the Florida Institute of Certified Public Accountants, and welcome to the next episode of CEO Conversations. I'm thrilled to be joined today by my dear friend and colleague in the profession, Roger Scarborough, who is the Executive Director of the State of Florida's Board of Accountancy here in Florida. Welcome, Roger.
Thanks, Shelly. It's good to be here.
Yes.
Good to take the opportunity to share some improvements that the CPA Division has made lately.
I'm really excited for today's conversation, and we're here in Gainesville, in the hometown of the Board of Accountancy, and a little university called the University of Florida, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So super excited to chat today. For those that may not be aware, of course, the State Board of Accountancy is our regulatory agency here in Florida. They oversee the administrative process for the profession, make sure that all of the CPAs are in compliance with the rules and regulation that govern the profession, including probably most importantly, CPE, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that today and how it correlates with some of the updates that the division and the Board of Accountancy have done with the website in recent months and years, and some exciting changes that are on the horizon as well.
So I guess one key change I think people would notice if they go to our website would be that we recently reinstated doing a quarterly newsletter that we send out to all the CPAs around the state, and we put copies of that newsletter on the website, and it's a good way for the membership to, or for the profession, I should say, to stay in tune with what's going on with the board. So some other things we've done is we've updated some licensure information. We've updated some of the forms and some of the instructions that go with those forms. And another kind of key point I'd say is that we did a lot of work on the licensure by endorsement section of the website. And so since COVID, we've had an even greater number of people applying for licensure here in Florida by CPAs from around the states. And they apply then through licensure by endorsement. We created something called a quick guide. And so these quick guides show what are the requirements for the different kinds of application under a licensure by endorsement, and then it lists actually the documentation that they should submit in support of that application. So it should really help.
And Roger, can you explain CPE reciprocity to us?
Sure. The Florida legislature recently approved a form of CPE reciprocity whereby a out-of-state licensee, a CPA who has licenses in multiple states, right, and who doesn't reside here, they can actually satisfy their Florida CPE requirements by attesting to us that they have completed their CPE requirements in the state where their office is located, and they still, but I should say, they still have to complete a Florida board-approved ethics course.
Got it. And that's the key word I think that everybody needs to know living outside of Florida is it must be an ethics course approved by the Florida Board of Accountancy. And we're going to talk about that in a bit more detail in just a few minutes. Since we're on the subject of CPE, there are some new and different changes on the horizon that licensed CPAs in the state of Florida need to be aware about, especially as it relates to CPE reporting. Can you touch on that a little bit on what's happening and what the time frame is?
Yes. So the department is implementing a reporting tool whereby CPAs will report the CPE courses that they complete, and they'll upload certificates of completion, or proof of completion is a term we use. Those will begin for licenses that are renew in 2024 and 2025.
Got it. So we're moving away from check the box, I've done my CPE, and over towards I now need to prove that I've done my CPE and upload proof of completion. At the end of the day, that's really what's happening, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And that's happening primarily because of a lack of compliance over the past few years. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. So there's actually a statute that calls for 95% compliance, and the profession over the last 10 or 15 years, the profession's compliance has been somewhere in the middle 80%. So the department felt like it was time to make some kind of change, and the board agreed. And the board recommended that we adopt a process that would still allow individual licensees to report, but they would list the courses that they complete, and then they would upload proof of completion.
Got it. And I think that's the most important thing for our members to hear and know about. In addition to the fact that there's this change coming, it's coming because of a lack of compliance. And because we are a profession that, as we both know, upholds the highest standards of ethics and integrity, it's important that we get that compliance rate back up into the 90s, which is where it needs to be. So let's go back just a minute. You said a moment ago that this impacts the 24 and 25 licensees. Talk to me a little bit about the timeline, and what if I'm someone that's in the middle of my renewal cycle right now?
Right. So our implementation plan is that we don't impact the people who are renewing a license in 2022, right, in the fourth quarter of 2022. And it doesn't impact people who renew in 2023.
Okay.
So the first group of licensees that it would impact would be people who are going to renew a license in 2024, right? And then the next year, 2025. Well, the thing is that the CPE reporting period for people in 2024, right, has already opened. It opened July 1,
right,
2022, and runs till June 30th, 2024. So the board felt like it was important that licensees have access to our system for the majority of the time, right, that they're completing and reporting their CPE.
Which I completely agree with, and I thank you guys for thinking that far down the road, because if I'm someone that does renew in 2024, I need to know about this today so that I can make sure that I am compiling all of my information appropriately and I'm not caught by surprise when I go to renew my license in a couple of years and I haven't been tracking my CPE in the right manner. So basically, for those of you that are on that 24 reporting cycle, now is the time to start paying attention to what's happening. Okay, Roger, so we know this change is coming. Once the portal has been updated with DVPR, what do our licensees do next? Where do they go from here?
So if a CPA can go to their DVPR online account, so they're used to going there to renew their license. Well, inside of that portal, they'll see, or once they get in their account, they'll see an application that says report my continuing education.
Okay.
And they can click that, and then it's kind of like a log. They start logging details about courses that they've completed, and once they're finished logging the courses, then the system will prompt them to upload certificates of completion or proof of completion.
Okay, got it. So what I heard you say is logging. So is it safe assumption to say that they should be doing this over the next 2 years and not waiting until the end of their renewal cycle to upload all of their CPE? Should they be loading it as they go?
Yes, the board is strongly encouraging CPAs to log this course material and upload their proof of completion as soon as they complete the courses or as soon as they receive, right, the proof of completion document.
So that's really important, FICPA members and CPAs across the state, for you to understand, is this is a significant change. So our recommendation from the Board of Accountancy is that you continue to upload and log your CPE as you go versus waiting until the end of the 2-year renewal cycle to do it. It's important that you keep track of things and continue to upload them throughout the 2 years versus waiting till the end. Okay, Roger, so I've uploaded my certificate or my proof of completion. What happens next?
So when you sign out of your account, then the system's going to send you an email confirmation.
Okay.
Right? And in that confirmation, it's going to share back the details of the course that you input. I encourage you to look at those, right? Review them. If you see errors, you can always, when the next time you sign in, you can edit material that you keyed, and then And then also the confirmation is going to include a list of the files that you uploaded, right? Now, here's an interesting part about the confirmation. The details about the courses that you input are cumulative, right? So if in a second or third or fourth session you're keying additional courses, when you receive that confirmation email, it's going to list all the courses that are in the log,
Okay.
right? But the confirmation, the part about the files that you uploaded as proof is not cumulative.
Got it.
This is a weakness really of the system, but we're really encouraging people that they need to keep copies, right? They need to save copies of those files that they uploaded so they know in case they're ever asked to reproduce them, they have them.
Which, if I'm interpreting this correctly, is exactly why the transcript model is preferable, because everything is then logged on the transcript versus the licensee having to keep a log of it through the reporting system.
That's right. And you could potentially upload the transcript, and then later in the year you take more classes, that transcript builds and you upload the same transcript. It's okay, you upload
Right.
the same information with additional courses showing up on the transcript.
It's cumulative.
Yes, ma'am.
So the transcript is keeping it all organized versus the system keeping it all organized,
That's
essentially.
right. That's
Got
right.
it. Okay. Roger, so I've input my courses, I've uploaded my proof of completion, and I have finished my session. What happens now?
Okay, so CPA at that point might want to see where they are in the whole process, right? Kind of like a status. So there's a different screen that
Okay.
they'll go to, and it's called View My Continuing Education.
Okay.
And that screen is pretty summary. It's got the categories of courses, and it'll tell you if you've satisfied all your A&A, or it will tell you if you're deficient in ethics course, information like that. A key point here is that the View My CE screen can take up to 24 hours to process courses that you've input and then files that you've uploaded. So it's like that confirmation email will come almost instantaneously, but if you want to see where you are in the big scheme of things, like, I've got 70 out of 80 hours done, and you want to see that, you're going to have to wait for the system to process, and it can take up to 24 hours for it to process.
All the more reason not to wait to the last minute, right? Because
Yes,
it might
ma'am.
panic a little bit.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Roger, so I know we touched on this a minute ago, and because we really do want people to start using the portal and use it often, right, throughout
Yes.
the year to get their stuff uploaded and make sure that they're staying in compliance. So when can we expect that they'll be able to access the portal, and how often will they be able to do so throughout the year?
Yep. So the reporting tool is open now.
Okay.
It's available to them. They have unlimited access to the reporting tool. They can key or do a session as frequently as they want to. I've had some CPAs say they're going to use it every month. They're going to record all the courses they took in a month. Some firms have talked about doing it on a quarterly basis.
Okay.
We just want to emphasize not to wait until the last minute to get all this information keyed in.
That's the most important thing. You can do it daily, monthly, quarterly, biannually, but don't wait until the last minute.
Yes. And the board we did talk about, and the board agreed that, okay, so the CPE cutoff time is normally June 30th,
Right.
So the board gave them an additional 30 days to input and upload materials into this reporting tool,
Got it.
right?
Because it's more work than what we had before when it was just check the box.
Yes, exactly.
Got it.
Now, a key point there is that with extensions, right? In Florida, we have automatic extensions, an automatic extension to September 15th and then again to December 31st. Now, with those dates, those are hard dates. You have to have your course completed and input and uploaded by those dates, right?
Got
and
it.
the logic behind that is I can't go beyond December 31st, right? So I couldn't give people more time. So the board just said, okay, for extensions, the extension date is a hard cutoff date. Get your course done and input and upload your information.
Roger, I want to go back to what we were just talking about a minute ago as it relates to the ethics course. So as we said, any licensed CPA in the state of Florida must take a board-approved ethics course. And those courses are approved by your organization, the State Board of Accountancy. And I know, as you and I have talked in recent months in preparation for this reporting change, that one of the recurring themes from the past several years in terms of folks not being in compliance with their CPE was that they were not taking a board-approved ethics course. So it's important for our members to understand that you must have that board-approved ethics course as part of your CPE reporting. So talk a little bit about what that looks like and what types of features we can expect in the new tool.
Right. So to address this issue, we looked at it hard, and as a reminder, all of the board-approved ethics course, when they're approved, the provider is given a number, and then the course is assigned a number, right? And so what we came up with was that the reporting tool would require you to put in a course number when you go to log your Florida ethics course. So if you don't have a course number, right, then the system's not going to recognize that as a Florida approved course.
Got it.
Okay?
Specifically for the ethics course though, right? So if they
Yes.
don't have the number for that ethics course and they just put the course in, does it go into some other bucket?
Okay, so to back up, on our website and in our instructions and in several different documents, we have links to a list of approved courses.
Okay.
Right? So I encourage people to go to that list and select a course off
First,
that,
right, get the
off
number.
that list and
Okay.
get a number. Right. So then when they go to log their course, they put in the course ID, should be good to go. If for some reason you don't show a course number, the system is going to treat what you considered an ethics course, the system's going to treat it as a behavioral course.
Interesting.
And we've always done that,
Sure.
right? Behind the scenes at the profession, when we audit people, if they took a course that has ethics in the title, but it turns out it's not a Florida approved course, we just treat that as behavioral hours.
Got it. So that's why it's really important that they go get the number of the course first. Otherwise, they may inadvertently be logging behavioral credits and not the ethics requirement that they
Yes.
must have.
Yes. And as part of our audit, we will be checking to see that you have proof of completion, right, that goes with the course number that you input into the system.
So is there still going to be an audit since CPAs will now have to upload all of these proofs of completion? And if yes, what's that going to look like?
Yes, we're still going to be conducting an audit. We'll pull a sample and we'll review those. The change will be that the audit will focus on the details of the courses that were logged and making sure that the proof of completion supports what was input. One thing we won't have to do is we won't be contacting CPAs and asking them to provide us information or proof of completion, because it should already be in the system and we're simply going there and auditing it and making sure it looks right.
Which is important for our members to understand, because if they get audited, you're not going to be proactively reaching out to them and going, make sure you got everything correct in there. What was submitted is what is going to be taken at face value for that particular audit.
Yes, yes ma'am.
So let's talk worst case scenario for a minute. What happens if a licensee fails to meet these new CPE reporting requirements and also misses the automatic extension?
Well, in short answer, the system is not going to allow them to renew their license, right? They can come back then and reactivate their license, and that reactivation process depends on their circumstances and more details.
Sure. So reactivate but not renew.
Yes, ma'am.
Roger, thank you so much for spending time with me today and explaining so thoughtfully all of these new changes that are coming to the CPE reporting and to the new systems that DBPR has put in place. I know this will be incredibly helpful to the CPAs across Florida. So thank you so much. And I think our joint goal here, as we stated earlier, is to make sure that CPAs in Florida, we'd like to have 100% compliance. Right? We are one of the most ethical professions out there and uphold the highest integrity, and we should be striving for that 100%. And I think with these changes that we've talked about today, we'll be getting closer and closer to that. So thank you so much. I think in summary, if I had to just sort of put a bookend on this, here's the 4 things that I learned today. First and foremost, they can and we want for CPAs to upload their CPE continuously throughout their renewal cycle. Do not wait until the end to do so. As part of that, the department and the Board of Accountancy's preference is for CPAs to use some type of transcript to report their CPE. That'll make it easier for them, it'll make it easier for you all, and it'll make it easier for everybody to stay in compliance. As we shared, the FICPA CPE tracker is a fantastic resource and solution for developing this transcript that you need to have to report your CPE, and it makes it easier for you to keep everything in one place and just seamlessly upload when you go to report everything to the Board of Accountancy. And lastly, they will not be able to renew their license if they do not report on these CPE requirements in the proper fashion and within the window that you've provided for them. They can reactivate their license, but they will not be able to renew. So those were the 4 big takeaways for today, if you will. And of course, Roger, I know we'll be continuing to talk probably daily as we're going through this transition. And we just thank you and the Secretary so much for our partnership here in the state of Florida. We are so grateful that we have such a collaborative relationship, and rest assured, licensees, that we will continue to keep you up to date on the latest information about ways that you can keep in compliance with your license, and certainly all things new in the CPA profession in the months and years ahead. So until next time, I'll see you on the next episode of CEO Conversations. See you soon.